This is Allie Edwards and welcome to day 6 of December Daily for 2017. Today I am working off this base page or this foundation page, and I actually used this page in the product play workshop, which is actually still available for you to sign up and take if you're interested in playing more with shapes in December Daily. So a lot of the initial foundation pages I made, like this one here with this big heart, this is from that workshop, which gives you step-by-step instructions on how to build some of those pages. But this is where I'm at now. So this is vellum with stitched circles. And what I'm thinking about doing, I printed out a picture here that is the puzzle that I'm currently working on right now. And some of you guys know that we bought a new table for our downstairs. So we have basically two dining room tables, and with 7 people, it's nice to have 2 tables. And it also gives me the opportunity to have a puzzle out, which is something that I like throughout the holiday season, that people can just kind of stop by there and, you know, put a couple pieces down or something. So what I'm thinking about doing, I keep looking at this, and I looked at it yesterday, and I'm looking at it again today. I am considering cutting around the edge here so that then this will be an open section of this page. And what I am, you know, it's kind of risky, but what I'm thinking about doing is that I will have this on the back. Well, I will adhere this first, probably. It's a little bit too short, but that's okay because I can just trim it down a little bit. Adhere this on the back and then trim it. So trimming it after I adhere it and then writing in some journaling. It's a little bit experimental. It's a little bit of, you know, just kind of playing around with a different idea, which sounds fun to me to do today. So that is what I'm going to do. I think I may print this out again just to make sure that it is a little bit bigger so I have more room to cut it down. Actually, I could probably trim it down off the top a little bit because that's fine. I don't really care if it's exactly the same size as all those pages. So I will show you my process here, and you know, this part of it doesn't really matter in terms of like where it is on here. It's that this portion is going to be cut off, and then I'm going to write a bit of a story using a white pen on this page. So here we go. All right, so I started out by adhering my photo to the page there with the stitched circles. And the reason why I did that first was because I wasn't sure exactly how or where it was going to end up. And then I was going to punch it with the 6-hole punch, but I couldn't fit both pages in there together. So I went ahead and used the power punch for that, which works just as great. I think that the 6-hole punch is definitely more convenient. But the power punch worked just fine for this step. And then I went ahead and I trimmed off the excess. You guys saw that in the first part of the video there. I just wanted to make sure that it was closer to the right size. The next thing I did was grab a pencil because I wanted to sketch out where I was going to cut before I started doing it. I wanted to leave a border. I found that the smaller circles worked better for this, and I kind of moved things around depending on what felt the most comfortable in my hand as I was cutting things. Sorry, it's kind of off. It's up in the blurrier area, but I'm just going around following the basic lines that I had drawn with the pencil on there first. I liked having it where there was white there, like I didn't cut right up next to the circles, which I could have done as well, but especially because of having that cork starburst there, I wanted to have a rounded white spaces across the edge there. And I just went ahead, and after I did it one time, then I kind of looked at it, you know, held it out in front of me and looked at, you know, how did I feel like the shape of my circles actually flowed around there, and then I cut off the extra in the back. I totally love how that turned out. Like, I think that was such a good choice for me. I'm really happy with taking that risk. It's always risky when you have something done already and to go back in and make an adjustment to it, because what if I don't like it? And oh my God, blah, 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 just do it. The next thing I did then is it was super light on that piece of white paper, but I wanted to essentially make a template for myself because I wanted to handwrite with a white pen, and you'll see that in a minute here, on this paper or onto my photo, but I wanted to practice and kind of get an idea of what did I actually want this to look like. So I grabbed a Sharpie and I did, you can't see the pencil mark, but I went ahead and copied or, drew around the outside. So I had an outline of what my page size was. And then I wanted to play around with like, what did I essentially want this to look like? So I went ahead and did that first and thought a little bit about how that was going to look on there, and was that what I wanted? I could have used letter stickers, I could have stamped on there, there's a million different things that I could have done, but I wanted to handwrite, partly because I want to use these white pens that I have too. So I have two different kinds of pens, and you can see that I already tested it out. I always highly, highly recommend that you test out your pens on your photo paper before you write directly on them. So the first white pen I'm using is the Sharpie Poster Paint Pen, and these are linked below as well. And then the second one that I'm using is a thick version of what's called a Posca paint pen, which I love these ones the most. I couldn't find my thinner, my thinner versions of these pens, or I would have used the thin and the thick together. So I wanted that little bit of writing. You can see that each time before I put the pen on the paper that I'm using, I did a little practice just to make sure that the ink was fluidly coming out of the pen itself. And so then I decided that I did want to underline that. It's just something that I like to do on a lot of my titles or hand-drawn things that I'm putting together. So I wrote "More puzzles, please," and then I wanted to add a little bit more journaling to the story. So I grabbed one of my precision pens. These are available in my shop. This is a .03 pen size, to add a little bit more journaling below that just says something about how I'm loving that we have this additional table in our living space where I can leave out my puzzles through the season, because it's really fun to be able to walk over there and do a few things and not have to clean it up every time. So that was one of my kind of dreams of having this other table. So then I just went ahead and used StazOn ink and my rolling date stamp to put December 6th on there. And then I considered using, these are stars from a past story kit, and I considered using those, and then I considered using the wood veneer piece from the kit. Any of those would have been fine, but as I was doing it, I feel like it was maybe too big, and so I decided I wanted a smaller star accent above the date, and so I just went into my stash of old sequins and those kinds of things. Just added a little tiny sequin star there using a Martha Stewart glue pen. So that was how I got that added on there. I love how this one turned out. Again, pretty simple and easy, especially because I did a lot of that work on the other side earlier on in the month.